Mate, hey, fucking my man, fucking Jai, bro.
Hey, how you all going? It's Jai, that Aussie metal guy here with Crannk.com and with that metalstation.com. And today I'm getting to have a chat with Jessi Merrill, bassist, and Scott Jorgensen, vocalist for Bloodgate, who are due to release Solace In Mourning. I think it's your second or third full length, if you count the live album as well. Comes out March 25th, I believe.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah,
Cheers.
and it's gonna be Bloodgate's third album. When the second one was, what was the second one?
Ambush and Destroy was the second
Ambush and
one.
Destroy.
Yeah. And the lineup's like completely different now. So the sound is kind of different.
Yeah.
So me and Eric are the only ones left from the old lineup.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, it has a little bit of a different sound there. I noticed it as well because I've checked out all your other stuff and then jumped into this album, then jumped back into some of your other stuff. And I did pick up all the subtle sound changes and everything as well, and that's to be expected with the lineup change. But if you guys had to explain like your sound and who Bloodgate were to somebody who hadn't heard of you before, how would you describe yourselves?
Well, we like Dungeons and Dragons as a good first start. So I mean, it's not, I wouldn't say it's like anything like, it's funny because the sound and the music itself is like extreme, but anything that our song content isn't necessarily all like hail Satan and whatever else. You know, we write about dragons and fantasy, and like it's it's, I mean, perhaps the sound doesn't make it exactly like more approachable or whatever, but like we do, let's put it this way, I think we're more lighthearted in what we like to write about and the way that we like to write songs. And I think that shows more, as opposed to just trying to like fit into, to make your subgenre easier, how easier for yourselves to describe, by sticking to an envelope. It's good to, just not be afraid to just, not premeditate on anything,
Yeah, definitely leave yourselves open there. You've got the elements of the death, the thrash, and it's really hard to keep up with some of the metal genres. You're talking about genres now and putting yourself in these little envelopes. It's hard because there's got fucking 20 million different heavy metal genres. When I was growing up, it was just fucking heavy metal. It was all just heavy metal. Now for people like me and you guys, you got to put in these little like melodic, hardcore, death, thrash, you know what I mean? Like things like that as well.
Yeah, it's I think with us it's like, yeah, first it started off as like black and thrash. Like you guys were pretty much, was that your like intention, I'm guessing?
Not really, but they were a thrash band and they found me, and I'm more of a black metal singer. So it kind of just like, well, I guess that's what we're doing. And then it just kind of evolved when we got new members that we all brought something, because we all come from different like musical backgrounds, and we just kind of let it like naturally form into whatever it is. We weren't trying to make anything specific, like subgenre wise.
Yeah, so Scott, tell me a little bit about some of your influences, because you're saying you brought the death and that kind of style over to you. Tell me a little bit about some of your influences leading into Bloodgate.
Well, I grew up listening to a lot of like LLN, like Mutilation, and a lot of early black metal, early 90s black metal. And so I was like, I want to make screechy noises. So I, it's a lot of like just doing it yourself in your room at 3 a.m., learning how to do that stuff. And then you find a band who lets you do it on stage, and then you just kind of go from there. But my influences are like, South American black metal, French black metal, all that stuff. Just anything sounds like it was recorded down a hallway, real like, not the most high def sounding stuff, but I fell in love with that kind of like lo-fi sound, and so I just wanted to do it myself. And then I found a band, and I kind of went from there.
Yeah, nice. Jessi, do you want to tell us a little bit about some of your influences and inspiration, since we're asking that question?
Oh yeah, certainly. Well, it's funny because like I'm like the first person in my family to be like musically inclined, so it was still like pretty new. So I was like a kid of the oldies station. My dad never wanted to listen to the pop station, so like I got like the access to like proto metal sound, like super early, like Deep Purple, Led Zeppelin, all the very obvious stuff. And then I'm just a big music nerd in general, so I tend to like find foreign stuff that I like a lot. And I got into metal when I was about 14, 15, and for me it was started with the Big Four And then I started to get into black metal, and Mayhem and Marduk were like my first big two that I liked a lot. And a little bit of immolation here and there too. But and then when I was like, by the time that I was like a junior, senior in high school, I was super into death metal, and I was getting into grindcore and all that. And so like, just especially going to shows too, as a teenager, you know, I got exposed to all that. So, I mean, and in general, I would say if I had to pick like 3 or 5 big influences, I'd say like Patti Smith, Terrence Hobbs from Suffocation, Jaco Pastorius, because I watched his videos religiously online when I was learning how to play. Rory Gallagher, because well, like Taste is a fantastic band, and he's also a really great guitarist. And I'd also say Ron Kashnik from Malignancy. I got to see them with Mortician's 30th year anniversary in 2019 in Philly, and his guitar playing blew me away. And when I got home from that tour, I was like, I want to do on bass what he can do on guitar so bad. And so, you know, I'm influenced by people where, you know, like if I like what you're getting into, then I'm definitely gonna like watch what you do at the same time.
Yeah, and talking of bass, when did you first pick up the bass? How did that happen? Tell me a little bit about that.
So I was 12 when I got my first acoustic guitar, because I told my mom I wanted to play, and she was like, well, you're getting an acoustic first. And so, you know, I was kind of learning along on it, and it was cool and all, but then I had watched like Victor Wooten on TV or something. And so like I went up to my room and I just said, fuck it. And I took 2 scissors and I just cut off the 2 strings. And then I just started playing that way. And then my mom saw what I did. And then I got my first bass when I was 15.
Good on mum, went and grabbed it for you, eh?
Oh yeah. She
Good on mum.
Yeah, she used to work at a flea market, and like she found one real cheap for me. And so she was like, you better play this. And I did. I kept my promise to mom.
So Scott, the latest album there, Solace In Mourning, can you tell me, you've had some lineup changes as well? Can you tell me a little bit about the lineup changes you have gone through over the last couple of years as well?
Yeah, so we had a guy named Zach. There was another Zach, so 2 Zachs. Zach. We had a previous Zach, and then him, and we've gone through a bunch of bases.
Yeah.
Who was the last bassist? Yeah, we had Sean Boyle, a bunch of people. So it was and so it was an in and out thing, and so when COVID hit, a lot of them decided to part ways because, you know, things weren't happening.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to kind of keep the band alive. So we got Jessi to do bass, and the current Zach, let's call him current Zach, to stay and do guitar. And so now we're a 4-piece. We were a 5-piece, but we want to kind of slim it down and not have as many. I don't know. Sometimes it works best when you have just the people to fill the role, and you don't have too many cooks in the kitchen. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And we wanted to make a sound that where we all contributed and all brought what we wanted to bring. And I felt like that was missing kind of from the previous version of the band, which, you know, that happens when you make a band. You're not sure what you're doing. You're just trying to make music. And
there's a lot of hard bloody work that goes into it. Some people don't realize the amount of hours, blood, sweat, and tears you put into it just because you love the fucking music and the scene. And it's the same on this end for me. You guys put that work into it. Some people come along and go, man, I want to be in this band, I'm going to do this thing. And they get in there and go, what? It takes this much fucking work? Really?
Yeah, exactly. That's what you really start to realize, is it's not made for everybody. No. They like the idea of being in a band and not the actual work of being in a cold ass room in the winter with no heat.
Oh yeah, trying to play your instrument with all your coats on, or, you know, like trying to take it to an out of town show, and you drive, let's say 300 miles to the venue, and only like 5 people show up.
You make beer money.
Sometimes people expect all the glitter and the smoke on impact, but it doesn't work that way at all, you know? So that's why it's important to be invested in what you're doing, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and how did that impact with the making of this album, Solace In Mourning? Because I noticed you had the EP, the Bloodgate EP, back in 2020. Was this a matter of when you started on this, did you just go, look, let's go back and make an album out of this material, re-record it? Or tell us a little bit about that. Did you, use that material, or? Yeah.
Yeah, I think we treated it more as like a demo,
Yep.
and it was just something to release because my first show with Bloodgate was going to be that Halloween of 2020, and we played the show and it was cool.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, like so we just wanted something to release before we did that show.
Yep.
And yeah, I think that's all it was. We just hooked up my laptop and Eric's interface and just did it in our practice space real quick. And yeah, I mean, it was a day project, but turned out fine. And
Yeah, and I think the reality of it is that we wanted to kind of separate ourselves from the old lineup
Yeah.
and not just play songs that not everybody wrote.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there was such a change from the previous lineup that it would feel kind of dirty just playing everything that a previous guitarist came up with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So,
Yeah,
like,
So we
exactly.
really wanted to just do our own thing off the bat, and now we're getting around to filling that out and making a whole album out of it. Everything we wrote since then.
and I think it actually like worked out nicely too. The time and the placement was because I was also kind of transitioning from one band and looking into something else, and I knew very well that I wanted to like change up my sound. And so I remember when we first started, you know, sometimes we'd practice 2-3 times a week just to write stuff and just to see what everybody had. And I think those first tracks that we released in 2020 definitely helped see where we wanted to go with this album for sure. You know, just, well, I wouldn't say just all about the openness. I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like we all agree we just want to do like really stripped down, fast,
Yeah.
angry music, and we're all happy with it going that direction.
Yeah, instrumentally, I feel like there's nothing better than the rawness and the power of the 3-piece. You know, like it goes back in time, you know, Taste, Jimi Hendrix, Cream, you know, like all those guys were 3 pieces. You know, you grindcore bands doing it with just one person nowadays. So sometimes less is more, you know, and that's and I think it shows for sure.
Yeah. So what was it like recording this album? Tell us a little bit about that. The recording side of it and the production side of this album.
You want to go? You recorded with Luke?
Yeah, so Luke Sachelheim off of Bum Ass Productions, he he just does it out of his basement. He's had stuff featured in Decibel magazine. He's definitely a really good name around here in Cincinnati, and we had a great time recording with him. I don't know, I remember when Scott was recording his vocals and I was like watching, because I wasn't there the first round, but the second round I was, and I typically get very anxious recording. And I remember for the first time I laughed my ass off when I heard Scott scream into a closet for the first time. I know, like it's just really quiet, and then you hear him just like out of the closet, and for some reason I just thought it was the funniest thing.
I mean, it is hilarious.
Oh yeah, it's and like he's so accessible, but he's such a pro at the same time. And I really, really liked recording with him. And it was definitely a lot of fun.
You didn't do that during summer, did you, Scott?
What's that?
Was that during summer? Was it during the coolie part of the year? Was it all? I spoke to someone a couple of weeks ago and they'd done the same thing. They were doing their vocals in a closet and they said it was in the middle of summer and they were fucking cooking when they come out of that.
Oh yeah, because it's summer over by you guys now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's the dead of winter here. We stopped recording we were done recording when it was starting to get cold, but we started in around the fall,
So
which would be
too
like
bad.
August or September here, yeah. And so I mean, it only took us like what 3-4 months, maybe 6 months to plan. Well, not 6 months to plan, but took us 6 months between the planning and then laying down all the tracks. We actually recorded Eric's drums separately. We actually, he's got another buddy who records, and he did it for us. It was Matt, right?
Yeah, Matt.
Yeah, Matt Hemingway did it for us. And so, I mean, it was really awesome just from the whole process from start to finish. It was, I'd say there were some parts that were a bit more difficult because, you know, when you're recording, you know, you go track by track and you have to hit every note, or else like even like the slightest thing will just, you know, mess up the whole track. But I mean, that's just typical stuff. Other than that, it was fine.
Yeah, and we don't want to record like some bands where they do each note and, you know, like over edit it. Ours was very like streamlined, like the way you hear it is the way it came out. There's probably mistakes in there, but like I think that's part of what we like. We like the raw, I'm not trying to overproduce our music at all. Like I'm not really into that. So
yeah, I don't know how I'd really feel about having like a direct, like, I don't know, like if how I would feel if like my bass was like overproduced, you know, when you like go in and yeah, you'll just get the bass straight from the pickups and the source itself. That's a great sound and everything, but I don't think you're really getting like the full tone of it, you know, if you don't do it like that.
Yeah, the first time I put you guys in, I was very, very impressed. It was heavy,
Oh,
brutal. It had
thank
those thrashy
you.
elements as well, and my head was banging straight away, dude. I was really, really
Oh,
impressed
sick,
with it. It
dude.
made me
Thank
want to
you.
go back over to Bandcamp, which I know you guys are on Bandcamp, and go
Mhm.
chuck everything in there as well on my wish list, ready to grab when I get paid too. So, where's the
Oh,
best place people
fantastic.
can get along and support you guys? I know you've got the Bandcamp. Is there anywhere else besides the socials and everything that people can get along and
Um,
support you all?
we are on Instagram, but yeah, that's a part of the socials. It's
Yeah.
Bloodgate Metal, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Facebook, all that kind of
Facebook.
stuff like that.
Yeah, we try to stay on top of the social media game. So, you know, we are approachable. People can definitely like talk to us at any time. And
Yeah.
Got our
but
standout
yeah, other than that,
tracks.
we don't have any special sites or anything, but
No, I'll
yeah.
put all the links in there. It's all right. Standout tracks off the album for you guys. I know it changes week to week, and I'm always like, every time I ask this, I know that each track is going to change week to week for you guys. But at the moment, what's your favorite track off the album and why?
Well, we have a single coming out for Death on the Horizon. And what day is that?
It's the 18th.
It's like, is it the 18th or
Yeah, I think
either the
that's-
18th or the 25th of this month? It's going to be the
Yeah.
single. That's my favorite
I feel
song.
like we should know these.
Yeah, right. You think we should keep up on this, but that's my favorite song. I think from a singer's perspective, it's just the most fun for me.
And like it's very dynamic for you too.
Yeah, it's
because
just
a
range,
lot of like highs and lows, and
Yeah.
I think you really see all of what you're doing.
Yeah,
You know, in that song for
it's
sure.
the song I get to have fun on. So that's my personal favorite, which is why it's the single. So what's your favorite?
Oh man, that's a tough question because I really like every song. I can't think of a song that I dislike. But if I had to pick one, I'd probably say Veins of Mercury, because that song has like it has like different like time signatures, and I really like at the end how Eric just keeps playing faster and faster, and I remember the fill that I came up with in the middle of that song there. I just just listening to weird like Turkish stuff or something, and so I really like the way the whole song came out, and it's definitely like a hitter for sure, and I really like I like how it like changes up speed a lot.
Yeah, and that song actually we when we play it live is like a very like off the top of our head kind of song.
Oh yeah, it's
The
one that
ending,
we
we
can
use it
just
to-
like jam out with. Like
Yeah.
there was one time we actually like kept it running for almost like a couple extra minutes.
Yeah, because it's a good like piece to like transition into the next song. We kind of use it as like so you're not just like stopping and playing live. You kind of flow into other songs, but yeah. But
It's a great track to end the album on too. That one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It kind of flows out.
Yeah, it leaves it out. And playing live there, how is the live scene? I did notice you also had that Bloodgate live. If people want to go check that out, I believe that was at the Radio Artifact as well. But how are things going over there in Cincinnati at the moment with the live music scene and everything going forward?
I think our metal scene especially is kind of underrated. I think we have a lot of bands here, and like most shows, I'd say 80% of the shows I show up to are packed with people in the area, because in this area, like I live in Kentucky, but it's like so close to Cincinnati because it's like a river that is between us, that it's all like this tri-state area of musicians that all kind of congregate into Cincinnati to play. And it's actually kind of underrated because it's one of those cities that's not really thought about, but we have tons of bands here. And really good turnouts.
There's definitely a really good future for music in Cincy for sure. The metal scene, even just like the indie rock scene, the hip hop scene, the punk scenes here. You know, everybody really has a good heart and energy for what they do, and it shows. You know, people really do come up with some good music here. So I'm proud of it for sure.
Yeah, it's like a microcosm for the metal scene in general and your local scene. Like, get amongst it and support it, especially over in Cincinnati, over here in Australia, wherever you are in the world. There's so many great metal bands coming through in your underground and your local scenes. We all kind of want to get along and support these shows as they go forward, because the last couple of years have been absolutely crap. I know we're all tonguing for live shows, so it's great to see the live scene like pushing forward. And I always like to ask about the local scenes and how it's going over in each country and where yous are.
Oh, for sure. I feel like it was definitely like very quiet and just kind of at a dull roar before the pandemic. But I really think the pandemic, especially for like a city like ours, really definitely gave it a good kick in the ass. I think it needed it. And it's nice to see what people are coming up with, adjusting to COVID and, like getting back out in public and playing again. And it's cool to see like how people developed in that way.
Yeah, and it's great to see bands like yourself still being able to work through that time, because I know it would have been really bloody hard for you as a band in general to keep pushing through. So for me, it's really great to see bands like yourself pushing through and staying strong through COVID, ready to bloody get out and fucking attack the world.
Well, it had to happen at some point. Might as well just be safe about it. But don't be afraid to get your feet wet. Just go out there and fucking do it, man. It's worth it.
Exactly. I'm going to leave it at that, because that's perfect words to leave it at, guys. Do you have any last words, shout outs, or thank yous you would like to add in there before we end it?
Well, thank you for having us. This is rad. Like this, we don't get the opportunity to do this a lot. So hi mom and dad, and go play some D&D, be safe, and thank you.
Do you want to add in there, Scott?
No, I appreciate just having us on here. It's fun. Hope we talk to you again sometime.
Definitely, mate. Look forward to it. Everybody grab Bloodgate's album, Solace In Mourning, comes out March 25th. You can head over to Bandcamp and grab all their other fucking music, which I highly recommend as well. Put it in the stereo, turn up loud, because the neighbors are going to want to rock the hell out to some Bloodgate as well. Cheers, guys. You have a lovely evening. Thank you very much for joining me.
Take care of yourself. Thank you.